second half as perhaps we were hoping they might, but those two still the top two in the group and looking odds on to progress to the semi-finals next week. It didn't really go the way we'd hoped it would. You're laughing. That's kind of obvious it didn't really. They just carried on doing what they were doing.
Jackie, I quite enjoyed it. I don't know about Lee. I thought...
Oh, he didn't?
No, I thought it was the best game tactically and technically we've seen. You know, with two teams having a go at each other. I think Chile controlled the first half and were a better side. Germany came out. They couldn't get their pressing going. And you give the Germans a little bit of space, they'll use it. So there wasn't so much... you know, chances created, but the actual game of two teams, technically and tactically, I think that's sort of the best game we've seen for me, and I think you'll see them two in the semi-final.
Do you agree, Lee?
Yeah, I don't like agreeing with Glenn normally because it's, you know, it's good TV if I don't, but yeah, it's about right. I think it was two halves, different football. One was pressing, second half they found it more difficult. I think Germany looked the more comfortable in the second half, but it just lacked that goal action from either end that makes... If they had the goal and action at the other end, at either end, it would have been a tactical good game and also exciting game, and it just lacked a bit of excitement at the end of it for me.
You wonder what might have happened had Mustafi been sent off when he should have been, when there's the opening goal that his Arsenal teammate Sanchez
he chases his mistake. He gives the ball away, and look at that. I mean, he goes through the back of Vidal. Vidal was really cute with a little pass to Sanchez. But for me, that's the part I don't like to see. Chilean players trying to get him sent off. And I think there's a rule there that we can change, I really do, reverse the free kick or the goal or whatever, but that's a different story. You can see he's got options, but he's just gone for the difficult one. He's got to curl that round. If he just bends that round Vidal, he's OK. He tries to play a straight ball, and it's a great finish in the sense that within the blink of an eye, they're in behind. The last person you want to be going in one-on-one with the keeper really is Sanchez, and he screws it a little bit, doesn't he? Miskicks it, but no goalkeeper, as I said at half-time, in the world is going to read that.
His first touch is great because it's going away, and then all of a sudden his first touch, he takes it direct to the goal, like cuts out a defender, getting across him, and that, any part of the body's good enough. At the end of his toe, left foot.
Yeah, you wonder whether the defender might have been leaning in and putting him off to make him do that, but the replay showed not really.
No, but I think going back to the challenge, and you don't like to see players getting around the referee. With this VAR, you're going to get more and more of that, because every goal that goes in, certainly, I was just thinking about it last night, if I'm a player, if I'm a defender now, every goal I concede, whether you like it or not, if I was still playing now, I'd go to the referee. Do you see the handball? Do you see the push? I'd be putting doubt in his mind just because I'm competitive and I don't want to lose. So I think you're going to get, for instance...
But what's the point of that if there wasn't one? If there wasn't
No,
an
but
incident?
any sort of slight indication there's a foul or something, they're going to go to the referee and put them under pressure.
But, Dicko, if you bring in a rule, like I've said for a long time, I hate seeing that. When players say, give him a red or a yellow, they all went round him. If the referee's got the power to reverse the free kick and give a free kick the other way, that would stop that instantly. Absolutely instantly. No one would go and do that ever again or go to a referee.
It's great working with Glenn because he's changed about 5 rules tonight, all good ones as well. He's got 5 great ideas we talked about and they're brilliant. I think you should be chairman of,
I'm going to be a ref.
Rule changer.
At least the point is they did have a point, because they did take out his teammate's ankle and he could have broken it and he didn't get sent off. So it's not like they're just saying it for the sake of it. They did have a good point on this occasion.
If that was on the halfway line and the ball was still in play, he would have sent that player off, no doubt about that. The fact that it goes into the goal shouldn't make any difference. This is a horrific tackle. He could have broke his leg, broke his ankle.
That's why they were complaining, though, isn't it?
Again, I come back to it. We're learning from other sports that are doing this. If that's a rugby player, a rugby game, there's no way that they would even go anywhere near the referee to make a decision for him. And that's what we've got to try and bring in football. Laws that are not going to change it radically, but give the referee the power to actually convert the free kick or whatever, and you'll stop it instantly. You wouldn't see any player going towards a referee.
Well, they're not supposed to surround him and do that, but they do, and they get away with it. I mean, if more cards were dished out, then they'd stop. But I mean, in terms of the...
We don't want to dish cards out. Then they're dishing cards out left, right and centre.
Players won't stop otherwise,
you have to hurt them with the ball. Honestly, if you hurt a professional footballer with the ball, so extra 10 yards, whatever it may be, it will finish it straight away instead of yellow cards.
I'm voting Hoddle. I'm definitely voting Hoddle.
Team Hoddle. Team Hoddle. Well, in terms of the equaliser, that was a real opportunity that Germany created for themselves by beating the Chile press, and it opened up so much space for them as a result.
Yeah, and we see they did press on the left-hand side, and Chan's got so much space now, and that's the way to beat the press. Either pass it through it or hit it over the top. And once he gets in this position, he just feeds the ball in, and Isla just stops his tracking back. Once you stop, there's a full-back, the ball inside, and it's a brilliant, brilliant crossing. And Stiddle's really... Look how he wraps his foot around the edge of it. We talked about it before, didn't we, Glenn?
Yeah, he worked really hard to get round it, didn't he?
Because Chile had been pressing well, so what should they have done differently there to prevent that?
Well, I think that's the 42nd minute. And fatigue was just, I think Ian said it on commentary. It's a time when sometimes, and you know, you've got experienced players, they're the experienced side. Somebody there's got to say, hang on a minute, it's nearly half-time, we've pressed really well, but now let's just drop behind the ball, last 5 minutes, make ourselves compact. And they've got the ability also with the pace of Vargas and Sanchez to hit people on the break with pace. So you then play slightly different for 10 minutes. And then second half, you get your breather, half-time, you go pressing again. They never did it second half, did they?
Sometimes, Glenn, the reverse press as well, which we used to do at Arsenal. If you're tired and you just say to your mates, right, we press the space behind us into the back four so they haven't got any space that way. And then when you get your breath back, then you can press in front of you again.
OK. Well, after the break, we'll have highlights of this afternoon's match between the indomitable Lions of Cameroon and Australia, and a bit more chat as well. Brighton, Matthew Ryan not having a great game this afternoon. But talking of the Premier League, we saw a few Premier League players this evening, didn't we, with Mustafi having not such a great game and Sanchez scoring for Chile tonight. But from an Arsenal perspective, they finished 10 points off the top last year. They finished 18 points off the top this year. What do they need to do this summer?
Well, I think their priority, which has been well documented as far as Arsene Wenger was concerned, was to sort his future out. That seems to be sorted. And then the next priority is Ozil and Sanchez signing new deals. If that's going to happen, then I think that makes the club more stable from that point of view. There'll be a problem with the amount of money they've got to pay him. There's always a wage structure at Arsenal. Can they afford the new wages? And I think Arsene's already said at the end of last season that they don't need that much as far as signing's concerned, which, you know, that's an interesting way to look at it, because I think the way the squad is right now, I think there's certainly areas, I think centre-back with the new three-man system, that's an area they need to strengthen. Whether Mustafi's the answer, I'm not so sure.
That means
and
no.
central midfield player, you know, a holding central midfield player that is at the standard, for me, that will do that job, and they haven't got one of them at the club at the moment.
Because they've spent 60+ million on Mustafi and Xhaka, and they haven't particularly worked out, have they?
For me, it's not about who they bring in. I think they've got a really good side. They need... The change is an attitude change. They need to change their attitude. If they get close to playing how they did in the Cup final, the FA Cup final against Chelsea, they will be right up there again, challenging. Every player was on it that day, off the ball and on the ball. And that's what Arsenal haven't had. They've got good players. They've got very good players still there. And if they keep this squad, they might add to it. I don't think, personally, they have to add that much. It's an attitude change. If they all play like they did there, for the manager that day, they were excellent against Chelsea, and they caught Chelsea on the hop. Chelsea didn't know what hit them for a long period of the game.
There's more things that go... I agree. Good players doing the right thing consistently is the missing thing. They go missing. There's parts of that team go missing. The majority of it without the ball. So it's all right saying, yeah, they're good players to do that, but you can't just change your attitude like that. It's ingrained in players how they behave over a season. And there's too many times that certain players have gone missing, and the attitude to winning the ball back hasn't good enough. And that, for me, comes from the set-up from Monday to Friday.
It's been there for years, not winning the ball back.
But it makes you wonder what's going to change, though.
Yeah.
For years, they've been there. Defensively, they're like a ship without a rudder. They've got no way of pressing the ball. Like we saw Chile press the first half, or other teams, even Tottenham, the way they've pressed over with the players that they've got no... You look at them and say they're off the cuff. They're going to play with the ball. When they haven't got the ball, there's no system there where they're going together, or they're making them channel down one side of the pitch, or they're letting a vulnerable player have the ball at the back and working off him. All them things Arsenal don't do. And they pay the price sometimes.
I just wonder how they're going to change that. Say attitude, but not necessarily personnel, but they certainly would love to buy a leader if they could get one. But I want to get your thoughts on Frank de Boer. It looks as though he's going in to be the first permanent foreign manager at Crystal Palace. What do you reckon?
Like any manager coming into the Premier League, it'll be a test. It'll be a test to get to know the players at that club. His track record is brilliant as a player, and as you said at Expo, he's going to be an eye-opener for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think he'll do what most of the foreign players, managers will do, bring foreign players in, might be Dutch. I just think he's got to watch himself. You know, Palace have got to watch that if it's a long-term thing, if he brings too much technical side to the game, they need to survive. OK, thanks, both of you. It's been fun tonight. Tomorrow sees more action from Royal Ascot. The opening show will mark your card at 10 a.m. on ITV4, while the racing itself gets underway from 1:30 on ITV. And on Saturday, Group A of the Confederations Cup reaches its climax with New Zealand against Portugal on ITV4 from 3:30. So it finished honours even in Kazan tonight. Both sides should progress to the semi-finals, you'd think, but they still have a little bit more work to do. From us all, good night.